State government will now be allowed to generate and transmit their own electricity, as federal government said to decentralize national grid to accommodate more investors, with a plan to invest about $550 million. According to President Muhammadu Buhari, his administration is moving at improving Nigeria's power supply amid constraints and bottlenecks which have seen multiple incidents of grid failures. He said Nigeria is decentralizing the national grid through renewable-driven mini-grids, and also signed into law the constitutional amendment with a bill which will allow state governments to generate and transmit their own electricity. So we ask what is likely to change and the impact this will have on the sector once the plan is implemented. Barrister Sunday Oduton is the Executive Director, Research and Advocacy of Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors and the official spokesman of all the 11 electricity distribution companies in Nigeria. He joins us virtually. Thank you, Barrister, for your time, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. I mean, you are in the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja, Abuja, operating from there, but I learned you are in Ogun State, Abeokuta now. Yes, you've seen it all in terms of the power issues and, of course, the challenges that the sector is faced. With this decentralization, I mean, being considered at the moment by the Buhari administration, what does this mean and what change is this bringing to the sector? Let's start from there.
I didn't hear the first part of what you said about changes that are coming in. What I heard was what will be the effects. So can you tell me the changes you're talking about, please?
Okay. I mean, the president has, disclosed that his administration is considering decentralizing the national power grid and to allow state government to generate and transmit their own electricity. So I was asking you what this means for the sector and the change is likely to bring into the sector.
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that for us as distribution companies, any action that will bring more electricity to Nigerians will fully support. At the same time, and in the same vein, we also believe in the sanctity of contract. So whatever the government is trying to do, as long as that accommodates the existing contractual relationship that we have with them, why not? But when you talk about the national grid, that is the transmission company of Nigeria, that is 100% owned by the federal government. If they decide to decentralize it or make it regional, I think it would be a good idea. So we will support any reform, any action that will legally make the sector whole. The problem with the sector does not require anybody going to the moon or to any country to study or understudy. We know what the problems and what the issues are. Okay. As long as we can deal with the issue of liquidity, as long as we can deal with the issue of getting the equipment into this country, which of course is linked to the issue of Forex, because if your currency continues to go down against the dollar, it means that it will cost you a lot more money to get things into this country.
Okay, Barrister Sunday, let me quickly come in here if you can hear me. I was going to ask you, you are the spokesperson for the 11 distributors companies under the DISCOs initiative. So you are the spokesperson. What do you think is the most challenging issue facing the sector that you represent?
Number one most challenging issue is the issue of liquidity. As a distributor, we buy electricity to sell to Nigerians. When we buy and we're going to sell to customers, what it means is that if I buy electricity worth of 10 billion, the seller expects me to remit back to him a sum of 10 billion naira. But if I push electricity worth of 10 billion naira into a network, let's say in Abuja, we push that into the network. Let's say today we push 100 million naira worth of electricity this week into FCT, and we're only able to collect 60 million out of 100 million. That's a shortage of 40 million. So when I now send back 60 million to the person who sold the electricity to me, because I'm a distributor, we have the generation companies, the producers. The producers expect to get their money back in full. If I'm not collecting fully from customers due to series of losses caused by energy theft, people bypassing, then the culture of non-payment. What that means is that there's a mismatch in the industry. So put this in a simple way. If I'm distributing bread, if I'm a retailer or distributor of bread, I'm buying from the bakery, maybe on credit. The baker give me 100 loaves of bread. He expects me to sell the whole loaf of bread, and indeed people are waiting to buy bread. But as I sell to them, they stole some of it, they refuse to pay for some of it, and I'm able to go back to the baker with only the price for 60 instead of 100. There's a problem there. So that's why I said the most fundamental issue today is the issue of liquidity. That's one. The second issue, of course, is the issue of sufficiency. If the generation company produces electricity, the transmission company of Nigeria should be able to wield that electricity down to us, the distribution companies. That's what we call the wheeling capacity or wheeling ability to take the energy from the point of production, which is generation point, to the point of distribution. So those are the issues that are going on in the sector. And this is not a new issue. This is something that has been going on for 60 years, well long before privatization in 2010.
Now, when you say the challenge, the most challenging is issue of liquidity. Is it the issue of liquidity for distributors alone? Because we have, of course, as it's where we have the generating arm, we also have the transmission arm, and we also have the distributorship arm as well, where your association represent. So are you saying that it is exclusive to these three, or it cuts across these three group that are players in the company?
Yes.
Because the government seems to have the money. They are the owner of the TCN, that's the Transmission Company of Nigeria. They have the wherewithal. They have the resources as well. So where does the issue of liquidity come in?
I don't think so. When you say the government have the wherewithal, you may need to find out that from the Federal Ministry of Power. What I can tell you for free is that even government ministries, departments, and agencies owe us a lot of money, billions of naira in unpaid bills. You know, I was talking earlier about if you are selling product to customers.
Okay. Because of our time, I want us to address some key issues before we wrap up this segment with you. As it stands today, one of the most talked about when it comes to challenges the power sector faces is the issue of lack of electricity supply, that an average Nigerian does not have enough, in terms of consumption. When he wants to iron his shirt or power his generator or power his business, the little business by the corner, he doesn't have enough. I needed to speak to that. Where exactly does the problem, lie in addressing these? Because if you say it's the issue of liquidity, yes, but again, on the other side, we don't have enough for consumption.
Well, you cannot both work together. The problem lies with the inability of Nigeria to produce electricity in line with their increasing population. As your population goes up, so should your production of electricity go up. A country of 200 million people, 200 million people, still producing on average of between 4 to 5,000 megawatts. There's no way you can have enough. Today, Nigeria needs a minimum of 30,000 megawatts. Even that 30,000 megawatts is only for areas where they have poles. If you go to villages, urban area or desert or area of Nigeria, villages where there are no poles, those ones, if you have to give everybody electricity in this country, then you're talking of something in excess of 80,000 megawatts. But if you can get 30,000 megawatts, then most people in Nigeria will have light for 24 hours every day.
That may seem, let me come in here, Mr. Barrister. That may seem a big order, a big dream for the country at the moment, because the country has about 12,000 megawatts in stock capacity. I mean, why not begin to talk about, why don't you think we need to talk about addressing that part of the challenge? That's one. Then two, this decentralization idea, where does your association stand, and what role do you intend to play in ensuring? Because, of course, the state government are going to be generating their own electricity and transmit same as well. Where do you come in here?
Well, there are extant laws since 2005 which govern this industry. The power sector is regulated by law, and we have a regulator in place. I know that when the time comes, if such things are going to happen, we will all sit down around the table. Remember that we have 11 electricity distribution companies all over the country. So every state you go, there is always a disco there to talk to have contract with, to discuss with, and have something that you can work out. In Lagos State alone, we have 2 discos, Ikeja Electric and Eko Disco. So it's not a problem at all. We do not have any problem with that. As long as there is clarity, as long as there is a legal framework that will govern anything we want to do, I think it shouldn't be a problem. Where there will be a problem is if I'm the one in charge of my father's house, and out of the 10 rooms in my father's house, I'm able to get tenant for only 4 rooms, which means there are 6 vacant rooms in my father's house in that compound. If a stranger comes to occupy any of those vacant rooms without talking to me, I'm sure you agree with me that there will be a problem.
Okay.
So that's the only thing. But I can assure you that the federal government, the state government, all stakeholders are very sensible people, and they will do what is best for the country, for the Nigerians. So I don't see any problem in that. Let us start first by increasing generation, the one that we have. But when you talk about install capacity, my friend, install capacity is different from what you actually can push out. Go and find out how much of the 11,000 or 12,000 can be generated today. And if they do, can the transmission be able to win it? The answer is no, they cannot. So let's deal with how you can get the transmission company of Nigeria to work, to be able to will power to the distributors. And I'm not saying that only transmission problem, transmission TCN is the only problem. They are the major problem. But the discos are a problem too. The Gencos are a problem too. For the discos, we are not efficient enough. Okay. A lot of things.
Because of our time, yes. Because of our time, let's wrap it up with this, and maybe 30 seconds. Do you think the challenge facing the power sector is political?
Well, because I'm not a politician, it's difficult for me to say whether it's political. I think it's both political, financial, and the inability of Nigerian leaders to take the bull by the horn. Okay. Because you cannot be selling electricity to people.
Okay. I think we'll just have to wrap it up because of our time. Barrister Sunday Odutan is the Executive Director, Research and Advocacy. Is also the spokesperson of Nigerian Electricity Distributors. Thank you so much for your time, Barrister Sunday Odutan.